This is Tecker 901, Episode 80, Digital Video Workflow.
I'm Mike Gdovin.
I'm Michael Plasmeier.
And today we're going to talk about a digital video workflow. Basically all the steps it takes to make a video.
Right, in episode 59 we talked about how you can do it with digital pictures, and now we're going to talk about with video. Right? So there's a few things you need.
First, obviously you're going to need a camera. Here's a really old camera. It's actually the camera we used to use to shoot the show back in the first 20-some episodes maybe.
It's not that old, it's like from 2000.
That's 9 years, and that's like a light year in video ages.
At least
now,
it's not a VHS one. I used in school this
oh,
year
that's
a gigantic VHS on the shoulder one that was
I hurt my shoulder doing that.
Yeah.
And now here's kind of the newer idea of cameras. This is a still camera, but I use it for video and it does a very good job because it records uncompressed video, so it turns out really nice. It's not HD, but it's okay. And then, of course, you can't see it, but we promise there's a Canon Vixie HF100 that we're shooting with.
Right. That produces really good video. That's like $500 today if you shop around for a good deal. And that's probably the best deal. Cameras come in three main types. Tape, and there's either digital 8, high 8, or what is it? DV, mini DV.
Mini DV is the most common of those.
I strongly recommend you stay away from tape cameras.
Let me show you what's better than this. I got this nice little case for them.
Right. So tape cameras, you can probably, camcorders, like something like this, you can probably get starting at like $100, but I recommend you stay far, far away from tape cameras.
Okay, another kind is called SD, which records, is what we use.
Right.
These little SD cards, which we talked about in computer storage.
And I have a card like that that holds 2 hours of HD video, so...
This will probably hold about half that, I think. Or maybe.
Yeah, so that's your best option. The middle option is DVDs, and DVDs are, I'd only recommend them if you're not looking to do any sort of editing. If you are looking to do editing, DVDs, not your best choice, but they are the easiest for creating
like home
permanent
movies.
DVDs.
Like, hey, look, here's the kid taking the first steps. Now I can send the DVD to my aunt in Utah.
Right, but if you want to do any sort of thing with a computer, just stay away from DVD as well. The flash cards are really the best place.
There's also hard drives, where it's
right.
basically a mini hard drive, like the size of a hard drive that you put in a laptop, like this. And it's inside, it's usually like 60 gigs, maybe more, maybe less, depending on the price.
Right.
And I mean, that's another option. It's pretty much the same as the SD card, except you can't swap it out.
Yeah, and you have to hook up your camera to your computer. But
Yeah.
My recommendation, SD card camera, buy a few SD cards and swap them out. Yeah. And they hold a lot, like a 16 gigabyte card, maybe $30, holds 2 hours of video till you get on your computer, dump it, and then work with it. Alright, so next you have to find out how your camera connects to your computer.
Okay, so the two main methods is FireWire or IEE 1024, I think. Basically, FireWire is the name most people know it by. It's a fast type port that you connect your camera to your computer and you transfer over through this. It's faster than USB, which is the other option, which is what you use for thumb drives and cameras and mice and most of your accessories.
High-end cameras, like this is FireWire. and then high-end computers have FireWire, so you just get a cable. Those are most common. Those options for connecting are most common on tape-based cameras. DVD cameras, I think you have to put the DVD into your computer. I don't think there's any way to connect DVD cameras.
If it is, it's going to be a pain. You're probably have to convert and use their proprietary software, and I'm already getting a headache.
Yeah.
Don't get DVD.
Or hard disk cameras, you connect to your computer via USB, and then it just transfers. So it's not like connecting via a tape-based camera via USB is not the best option because you need special drivers and software, whereas FireWire doesn't need any software for tape-based cameras. For hard drive cameras, USB is probably the only option, and then it shows up like a flash drive, just like an external hard drive, and you can copy the files over.
Yep.
SD cameras are the same thing. You do have USB option, like this camera that we're recording on is an SD camera, so I can connect it via USB, just like a hard drive camera, HDD, or I can take the SD card out and plug it into my computer. Most new computers have an SD card port.
Unless you get a Mac.
Unless you get a Mac, and then you need a
dongle.
$10 to $15 reader, which you plug in, and then it shows up as a hard drive, and you copy the files over. So once you have your camera, you have to shoot some video. So I've put this camera into video mode, and now I'm recording Gdovin.
I'm going to do some stuff on my Mac just because I can. He's filming me do nothing.
Right, so I stop, so I'm going to create another clip of something else.
Shoot Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan out there working on his laptop.
We should be manning the camera.
Alright, so that's another 7-second clip. Let's get one more clip of Gdovin's computer.
Look how shiny it is. The awesomeness of the Mac.
That's a 4-second clip. And you know what, let's get one more about showing my camera, just so that we have some clips we can edit from. Alright, so done. Now you have to transfer. So for this camera, we're going to do the easiest, which is take the card out of the camera.
Hand it over to me. I'm just going to plug it in to this handy
USB reader that he bought for $20 to $30.
Or that may be borrowed from Reed.
Upside down.
Oops. Yeah, usually helps. I'm used to my USB reader now. Okay, so now I'll open up Finder or Windows Explorer if you're so Windows inclined. And, okay, DCIM, Canon, because that's the kind of camera, and here's the 4 clips. So, what I like to do usually is first I'm just going to take them to I'll just put them in a folder first. So I'm going to go, new folder, just to organize everything. So I'm going to say, video. I'll just call it video. And I just drag these all to this nice little folder, because all these THM, they're just trash files. They're for playback, I think they're something like that, and not very useful. Then you just drag it to your desktop, and since they're very short clips, they go really fast.
One thing to note is video takes up a lot of space on your computer. Like those 4 clips that we just shot, you know, maybe like a minute in total, less than a minute in total, 50 megabytes already. So if you're looking at, like on this type of camera, uncompressed video, you can get a gigabyte in about 5 minutes. HD video, compressed, still same thing. It's like a gigabyte is used up in about 5 minutes. So you must have a lot of space.
It's also because, like I said, this doesn't compress the video. It's uncompressed. So it's higher quality because it's uncompressed. But it takes up more space. So another thing you might want to think about when you go into video editing, external hard drive. Great. Like terabytes are now under $100. Go for the terabyte.
Yep.
Maybe a terabyte and a half if you're doing something really big.
Alright, so Gdovin's put all his files in a folder called video. I like to put them in one more folder called footage to differentiate them from the rendered out video files, which we'll talk about in a minute. Gdovin's going to be using a editing program called Final Cut Express. Was about $100? $200.
$200. It's pretty much, Final Cut has become the premier video editing software for non-professionals, and even professionals use Final Cut. They usually use the big brother Final Cut Pro, which is about $2,000. But
right.
I mean, for this kind of stuff, little project, it's great.
Prosumer version. Okay. There's also on the PC and also works on the Mac. Adobe Premiere Pro, CS3, CS4. That's what we use to edit this show. The CS3 version. The CS4 version, based on my testing, is pretty bad. It's like really, really buggy and does not work well. You can also even go as low down as Windows Movie Maker. We actually edited the first few episodes of the show in Windows Movie Maker.
25 were in Movie Maker.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I don't remember the exact number. So Windows Movie Maker does an okay job of doing it. You can also get like $100 programs like Premiere Elements. Does a pretty good job.
That's pretty good. I used to use that when I tried to edit on my Dell. Not worthwhile. Dual core is where it's at for videoing. You definitely need at least dual core, maybe quad core, just because you need the fast speed. You need it.
Especially if you're editing HD.
Yeah, and rendering.
So you'll need a computer that's been purchased in about the last 3 years and was not in the under $500 when you purchased it. So last 3 years, and you paid more than $500 for it.
And I definitely did that for both of this.
Yep.
This laptop definitely. Okay, so I've opened Final Cut Express, my program of choice. First thing you're going to do is save. Save project as. And what I like to do personally is I like to go to that same file where I wrote the footage files, and I like to take out and save it right in that same folder. So it's kind of like all self-contained into that one machine or one folder. So I'll call it video as well. And you also always want to give your sequence a name, just because if you do multiple sequences, it's easier to keep track of. And also when you log out, you also need
sequences is something found in higher end video editing programs like the Final Cut Express and Premiere. I don't know if Premiere Elements does it, and Windows Movie Maker definitely does not do different sequences.
Okay, so now I'll go back to this show. So now what you do is you go File, Import Files. So basically, I'm just going to go in this footage and say Apple A, I want everything, because
all 4 of those files.
And then just drag them into the timeline.
Well, now right here they're in our bin. And actually, let's show how, if we had a tape-based camera, what we do. So if you have a tape-based camera, the way of transferring files onto your computer is through something called log and capturing.
It's very tedious.
Yes.
I've done it for a video editing course. It's not fun. I prefer I went crying back to my SD camera, because here's what you're going to have to do. I don't have a camera to show you with, but I'll describe the process. Okay, so you take the tape, and when you're done, you have to rewind it all the way back to the beginning. Then you plug it into the computer through FireWire or USB. FireWire is much faster, even though it's still a slow process. Then what you do is you keep playing, and then as you find the clips you want, you put an I for an endpoint. Keep going until you're done, hit O, and then you click this. You can give it a name, scene, shot, give it some description, tell them it's good, and then you add to the queue. You keep doing that through your whole tape. And then once you're done, you say capture, and it captures all of it. So then you basically you go to the end of the tape, and then guess what you get to do? Rewind back to the beginning and start capturing it.
Right.
So much fun.
So Windows Movie Maker actually does log and capturing a bit differently. You just turn it on, hit start capturing, and then it just will capture the tape and then stop. With some cameras, Windows Movie Maker and some other programs are able to find clips, so it sees when the camera was stopped and started. Not all cameras, not all programs do that. It's definitely handy if you do that, otherwise you'll end up with an hour-long clip that you then have to divide up manually. That's why I love Flash Video. I would probably use this over this if I had a choice, just because the video quality is pretty much comparable,
if not better.
If not better.
Tape. The thing with tape is if you reuse it, the quality keeps getting worse every time you reuse that tape. So this is consistent quality. It's all digital. It's not analog, so it's better quality there.
And definitely far, far easier to transfer. I hate log and capture. Don't, Gdovin hates it too. Just don't get a tape camera if you want to do any sort of serious computer editing. And
there is a way in Final Cut, I don't know if you can do it in Express or not, called Capture Now, where you can do what Plaz described, which is just start at the beginning, tape capture everything, and then edit and post, which might be easier. Thing was, the reason I don't do that is because I've been told if you do Capture Now, you can only do 2-minute clips. If you do more than that, then it'll start getting messed up, and the audio is going to be off track and all, it's a mess. Once again, digital.
Video editing can get into a mess when you end up at the fringes of what you want to do. So definitely if you have like a slow computer, you can start really pulling your hair out a lot. If you're using tape-based cameras and you have to log and capture, then you can get into a lot of trouble. If you're using some obscure video codec, also you get into a lot of trouble. So, and it also takes a lot of time. To really edit video well, it takes a lot of time. Like, let's take, for example, like a network TV show. To make a 7-minute break between like 2 commercials, they probably have to work 6 to 8 hours minimum to make that 7-minute really well done edited segment. So it's a lot of work to work on stuff. Like if I did like a 10-minute spoof of a video show, we filmed like maybe 30 minutes of footage, and it took me 3 to 4 hours to put it all well together with music and everything and transitions and stuff. So it takes a lot of time, and if you're just chopping together video like real quickly, picking out highlights still can take a while. So we have our 4 clips here in the bin, and if we double click one, in this program it will open it up in the middle window. Now remember, the check signal cable is just because our TV and the Apple do not play nice together. Yeah, it's either one of the two. So if we hit play, we can now...
Space bar is the...
And now I'm recording Gdovin.
So now let's say we don't want Plasmeier, and now I'm recording Gdovin. So we'll go back a little bit. So now we're going to hit I for in. So set that as an in point.
Alright.
That's the end, so we'll call that an O. So those are in and out points. They're kind of like what we talked about when we did log and capture. So now what you do is you say, okay, this is the clip I want. I don't want any of this junk over here.
Right, so he touched I to say I want this to be the in point, so in point. So everything before this, ignore that and keep everything after it. Out is the same thing. It's
O.
It's O, and that means keep everything before this, so everything, but not everything after it. So only take what's between the I and the O.
So then what you do is just go, wait.
You go and you drag the clip into the timeline. The timeline is just the final representation of your project. So now, so this is the final output. So this is that specific clip that we're working on, and this is the final output of
okay, so now let's go to the next clip of Jordan.
Whole thing.
Out there working on his laptop.
Okay, so now let's stop it when Plas starts panning around the room.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, so he pretty much ends it back on Jordan. So we're going to start at Jordan, hit I.
Out there working on his laptop.
Some shaky camera work, but we're okay.
Alright, stop there.
And we'll
Okay.
hit O, and then once again, you just got to go drag and drop that right next to the first one. So now you might notice, we're going to play at the end of this clip.
Out there
You might
working
see it's kind of choppy. It's just like,
out there working.
it's called a hard cut. So you might want to do something to soften that up a bit, because that doesn't look very professional, even though we have been known to do that. So the most common is cross dissolve.
Actually, transitions and professionality. A lot of video is just hard cut, but sometimes it's transitions. Actually, transitions are used very, very rarely in professional video.
Yeah, so basically, but I mean, it's usually it's audio that's the big problem with stuff that I find, because it's like, okay, if the audio here ends like that and it ends hard, you can hear the difference, you hear that little click, and I can't stand that, so I put it usually transition in to kind of soften that up, kind of make it a little better. So if we play back now,
So Gdovin put a cross dissolve transition in.
Out there working on his laptop.
so now you didn't hear that hard click, except for the clicking in the background noise, but that's just sound. So that's one way to soften it up. You can leave it as a hard cut, but
Alright.
depending on audio and how you're set,
Okay.
it could work.
So let's add some titles right now.
Titles. Okay, so in Final Cut, this is different in different places,
Yeah.
but this is under can't see. Also a good idea to hide the dock when you're editing video. Video generators, here we go. And you're just going to go with text. And let's just do a still video clip right now. Take this and put Jordan on computer.
Yeah, so this is different in every...
Actually, we'll start it with Mike using Mac.
In Final Cut, it's pretty convoluted how you have to add text. It's really easy in Windows Movie Maker to add text, and it's fairly easy in Premiere and Premiere Elements.
Yeah, it's a little weird on Mac, or on Final Cut. So now, there's my title. I can change the color if I want. I can do a bunch of other stuff. I'm just going to leave it for now because I don't feel like messing with it.
So let's add this title on top of you working.
Okay, so I dropped it down to the bottom track because there's multiple tracks, and each track is basically, you can do different files, you can layer things, so like you can do kind of cool effects with multiple video. But for now, what I'm going to do is just take this, drag it on top of here, and now that's way too long because that's going to cover up everything we have. So I'm just going to trim it down to here, just like this.
It's not going to be on. That's going to be on there for like half a second. Alright.
And you might notice this is also not centered right, which means usually what I like to do is once I place it, I like to just put my cursor in the middle, kind of play with the sizing.
Premiere and it makes it a lot easier to do the text, and Windows Movie Maker won't let you do text that's too big. So, you know, each program is different in the amount of control it gives you, as well as how well it sort of works out of the box.
And also, good thing to mention, this box, this little blue box, it's called the TV Safe box. It's for like a standard TV set. You want to keep, in theory, most things inside that little blue box if possible.
Although, with flat panels and on the computer, you don't have that problem. So
yeah, it's kind of an old guideline. I'm just going to use it for this just because it's easy.
As long, only if you're showing on a CRT do you really need to care about that.
Okay, so now it's not really cut off like this. It's just because of the screen settings. But if you pull it in like that.
Right.
Okay, so you know what? Maybe I will drag it out so it'll be over everything when I'm talking. So now, I wish I had a home button on this keyboard. That's very useful in video editing. And there we go. Then we cross this off.
Alright, so now we have that one title. Now what about credits at the end, so everyone knows that we made this awesome movie?
Okay, so what you do for that is scrolling text. Just going to drag it to the end. I did it wrong last time, or not how I'm used to, which is I usually like drag it to the timeline first because then you can see it as you progress. So we'll say filmed by Michael Plasmeier.
So you notice he put this on video 1, the video 1 track, which means what Premiere shows is it's layers. So the video 1 is the bottom layer. So for instance here, that's the video that I shot of Gdovin working, and video 2 is the text, and that just layered on top of him working. He put this in video 1, so right now it'll only show credits. It won't go on top of any video.
So I just made some credits, edited by me, filmed by Plas. So now you can just kind of, if you play it to the end.
So here in the play video, if you click on it, you'll see that.
It looks centered. It's once again screen filmed by Michael Plasmeier.
A bigger monitor also helps with video.
Yeah, second screen, always good. Some people even have like 2 or 3. It's kind of cool, and if you want to make it go faster, you can just shrink it up like that, and now it's going to go more than twice as fast. Okay, that's a little too fast.
Okay.
So you just kind of drag it and it's a lot of guessing and checking.
This is what we mean by it takes a lot of time.
Even for just a little junk video.
Right. What is our video in total length? It's 17 seconds long in total. Alright, so now let's say we want to add some music in the background.
Okay. You know, there happens to be a song on my computer I think we're going to like. So let me go to my music folder, and you should know that there are some legalities when it comes to music. PodSafe Music, which is free, which I think we talked about in the podcasting episode
Right.
a while back. So that's good. PodSafe Music, public domain, or buying music.
But buying music, you don't have a license to put it in a video
Well, I mean,
and
like
distribute
buying a
it.
special license
Right.
for it, but
Like Music to Hughes is where we got the theme song for this show.
look at that, happens to be on this computer.
Yeah. So if you're gonna do commercial video production, then you have to look for that. The RA probably isn't gonna track you down if you use something on like your kid's birthday video, and only give it to your family. It's just something to be aware
This
of.
is only a 15-minute clip, so I'm going to
15 seconds.
15 second, sorry. So I'm going to import, and then all you got to do is take this, drag it to the music timeline,
The audio time.
audio, sorry, and then, you probably aren't going to want music and your,
Well, let's
music and you going.
let's drag down music so that it's very faint.
Okay, so we're going to quiet down the music using this little scrubber and kind of control the decibels. You can even do if you use a vector tool, which I can't see right now. Once again, it's a screen, but you can even like do a little like make little graphs and say, okay, at this point make it louder. Then okay, so now the music is in, and you can make things louder and softer and graph it out. But you know what? Let's just see how it goes right now with our audio, with everything. So hit spacebar, which is play. Familiar song. I feel like I've heard this before.
Out there working on his laptop.
Alright, so that's our awesome video. So now you have to get it ready to send to people. You have to do a process called rendering and compressing.
This is where it gets fun. So first thing you want to do is sequence. Now this is different for other programs, but for Final Cut you're going to have to do what's called render both. And bigger files takes forever. Like when I was doing this in school in a class, it would take about a day on the old Power Mac G4s just to render a video. That was like 5 minutes long. It's crazy, but luckily this is a short video.
This is where it gets. This is where a quad-core PC, becomes handy.
Yeah, or dual-core MacBook Pro.
So in Premiere and Windows Movie Maker, there is no separate step called rendering. It
Does
just
itself.
happens when you go to output video.
So now you go File, Export, QuickTime Movie. Because there's QuickTime conversion, but I'm pretty sure with QuickTime it's higher quality video.
Right.
Which I was learning
So you give it a name.
Don't need markers. Make movie self-contained, yes. And we'll call it video and click save. And now it's going to write it out. And once again, it's really fast because it's done. Okay, so now
Final Cut will output stuff in Windows Movie Maker, or I'm sorry, in QuickTime. Windows Movie Maker will output stuff in Windows Media Player, and tools like Premiere.
we'll kind of support both. And there's also, if you need a certain format, there's a lot of converters where you can just say, you know what, okay, I'll put it out as this version, but now I want it in these versions. You can even batch them, which means do several at a time.
Right.
Just tell them, okay, go, and it'll render them out for you and convert.
The problem is there's not one universal video format that works on every computer out of the box. There kind of is with MP3, which for audio, which
It's
works.
MP4, but
Well, let's say MP3 that works on Mac and PC right out of the box and doesn't
Linux,
work.
pretty much.
Well, Linux because it's patented, so some Linux purists may want to avoid it. But pretty much MP3, every portable audio device, every computer just works. Video, no. So on Microsoft, on Windows, the Windows media formats work right out of the box. On Apple, QuickTime works right out of the box, and they will work on the other one if you install the proper players. MP4 looks like it's going to be the standardized one. That works on Apple. It doesn't work on Windows Media Player with the exception of Windows 7. So Windows 7 and above, Windows 7 is the successor to Windows Vista. That plays MP4s right out of the box, but if you're on Vista or XP, you'll have to install something that plays MP4. We recommend VLC.
Yeah,
Media Player.
VLC, for me at least, is like a must-have for anybody doing video editing, because if you're doing work for someone else, who knows what format they're going to write to. So it might be, if you're a Mac guy, maybe they're using WMV. VLC will cover it if you're, and vice versa for PCs and moves and QuickTime. So
VLC basically plays
almost
anything.
Yeah.
Anything, period.
I have almost not found anything it won't play.
It even plays DVDs, and it'll actually skip.
I've had some DVD problems, but
Yeah.
beside that, most DVDs will work.
And it'll skip all the menus and previews and stuff and go straight to the menu.
Yeah.
No like
Good
FBI warnings and stuff. So once
So
you
I'm-
choose to output it,
So I'm gonna go open it up in VLC, which is my favorite. And you know what? Let's start over. I'm gonna put it in full screen first, because we want to get the full experience here. So full screen that.
you see it's blocky here. This is something called video compression. So videos are compressed. If we could stop that.
Here we go.
So videos are compressed to make them a smaller file size. So can we check how big that particular file was? So video is not something you can just send an email. You might have to put it on a USB thumb drive and hand it to someone. Or probably the best option is just to upload it to YouTube, which will take all videos
So
under...
that little file is 86 megabytes. That's a lot for a little tiny file.
Right, and if like email attachment limits are 10 megabytes. So, that goes way over. So definitely YouTube is probably the easiest. Actually, YouTube is probably the easiest because you don't really have to worry about file formats, because pretty much whatever you output it in, QuickTime, Windows Media Player, YouTube will take. So, just output in whatever the default file format is and upload it to YouTube, and then share the link with friends on YouTube. Don't worry about, computer compatibility or emailing it back and forth. Just put it on YouTube.
Another way is you can burn it to a DVD, which we've shown in a previous episode.
Right, you want to make sure that you burn it as a video DVD, so that way it's playable back in DVD players. You want to probably not burn it as a data DVD. A data DVD is just like the file is on a DVD, just like how the file can be on a flash drive, or the file can be on a data CD,
Anything like this.
or the file on a hard drive,
So it can only be played on the computer.
and only if you have the right playback software.
Yeah.
Which basically means that the person will have to install VLC player or hope to have the right
If
software.
you're on a Mac, the best way is iDVD. It's free, comes with it, worthwhile. So that's the way to do it. You can do it with
To make a video DVD.
make a video DVD.
Windows Vista comes and Windows 7 come with Windows DVD Maker. So again, it'll make a DVD, a video DVD that'll be playable in probably cross your fingers, commercial DVD players. DVD is really a problem. Again, CD, you put in a CD player, it plays. Put a DVD into a DVD player,
There's
especially
different
a home
formats.
burn DVD, cross your fingers and hopefully it'll play. It's really incompatible. That's why, I just like, if you're going to send someone a video,
YouTube.
Just
And then
save
you don't have
yourself,
to worry about shipping. You just put it on YouTube, email them a link.
as long as it's under 10 minutes, so much less work, so much less trouble, and pretty much guaranteed to work.
Another thing you can do is kind of lame is print to tape. So in other words, you plug the FireWire back in, plug it into the tape, rewind it to a spot you want, and click print to tape, and it will put it back on a tape. So if you have old people who want to see it and they don't use modern things like YouTube or DVDs.
Or if you want to archive it, because as I said, this takes up a lot of space, and hard drives have gotten a lot cheaper now, where you could actually save it on your hard drive forever if you have a large enough hard drive, as in over 100 gigabytes. But maybe 5 years ago your computer hard drive wasn't big enough that you actually printed it back to tape to save space. But now you don't really have to do that, but it's an option.
Yeah, an old option.
Yep.
Okay, that's it, pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't
We
think
hope this has given you a good introduction into how to making videos, whether you're putting together a show like this or you're just putting together a better highlight reel of your child's birthday or something. Just remember that video editing takes a lot of computer resources. You need a speedy computer, you need a lot of hard drive space, you need a pretty good video editing program. Windows Movie Maker will cut it in the beginning, but you might want something better for like $100. You also need a lot of time to get it to work. in actual editing, and you have to wait a little bit to render out or to export out.
Yeah, for those of you using Mac like I am, you do come with you get iMovie out of the box. It's pretty good actually. I played with it recently for the first time after using Final Cut for a while. It's kind of confusing because it's not the same as Final Cut. You don't have the timeline. It's up top and instead. It's kind of weird. It's not what normal video editors are used to, but it does work. I've actually gotten I haven't done apparently I have a Tecker episode in here. Oh, I was playing. Okay.
I think last time was the last time you played with this.
Oh, no, I played with it on my own one time because I figured I needed something to play with, so I dumped the Tecker episode. So, I mean, Movie Maker will cut. If you're doing anything more professional, I'd say go with Final Cut Express. $200. It's less with the student discount.
Because the layers, like we mentioned, we were able to layer a title on top of video, which you can do in pretty much any program. But if you wanted to layer 2 videos on top of each other, or if you wanted to put like a logo, so one of your video tracks could actually be a logo that you just set to go in the lower right hand corner, then you could do that. Or if you wanted, I guess 2 video tracks, if you wanted to show something zooming in or zooming out the video, or if you wanted the video to move across the screen, then you really need something that gives you a lot more control, like Final Cut or Premiere.
Like with Movie Maker, it's kind of skim through and all, but it's not the control you want for anything semi-professional. Go with a Premiere or a Final Cut Express. I highly recommend Final Cut Express. It's great.
I'm Michael Plasmeier.
I'm Mike Gdovin. Enjoy making your digital movies.
To watch this episode again or to watch any of our prior episodes, you can visit our website 911.tecker.net, T-E-C-K-E-R. And on the website we have our prior episodes, as well as you can view them directly on the website, or you can download them in WMV for Windows, iPod or QuickTime format for your iPod, or if you have iTunes installed, an MP3 audio-only version of the show, and a WMV HD version of the show, which you can download via BitTorrent that looks really, really clear and in pristine HD quality. And instructions for downloading via BitTorrent are also on the site. On the right-hand side, we have more information about us and about each of the members of the show, as well as quick links to all of our prior episodes and links to the RSS feeds for each of the formats that we release the show in, and links to subscribe to the show in iTunes if you have an iPod, an Apple TV, an iPhone, any Apple device. You can click on that link in either video or audio format. You can also in iTunes search for Tecker, T-E-C-K-E-R, in the iTunes store, and then you can find our podcast that you can subscribe to free. Also, if you do not have an iPod, if you have like a generic MP3 player, then you can use you can still listen to our show if on our website you subscribe to this MP3 audio version in a feed catcher, in a podcatcher like Juice. You can search for Juice on Google, download that program, and then it'll load the shows automatically onto your generic MP3 playing device. If you have any questions about the show or about technology, you can send us an email at 911@tecker.net, or you can leave us a voicemail at 610-572-2847. Thank you so much for watching Tecker 911.